everybody, this is Jill, and this is the first of one of my vlogs that I'm hoping I'll be consistent with. You know what's so funny is that as we were setting up the camera, I said this is nerve-wracking. I'm nervous about this because generally I have him to bounce off of, or I'm cooking and I don't have to deal with the real thing, you know. So this is kind of a challenge for me. So I hope that you'll be patient, and I'll evolve, I'm sure, but today's going to be kind of tough, so I hope you'll be understanding. As I said, you know, what I'd like to see this be is kind of an interactive kind of thing where, you know, I might throw out ideas or thoughts that I personally have that you might like to respond to or comment on, as far as whether you like that topic or you want more of that topic. And I'm going to, first of all, say here, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I have no degrees. I'm only dealing from myself, what my perception of life at this age is all about. And I'm hoping that women who are younger can get something out of it, because it's not really generational necessarily. It's things I think women think of, you know, sporadically through their life. And that's the whole thing about reinventing yourself, or you know, just making changes in your life that you think are going to be really, really helpful. And so that's my starting point. And as the majority of you know, I just turned 65 this year. Oh, by the way, I've made notes, so I'll be looking down from time to time. I turned 65 this year, and you know, when I turned 40, it was like a big joke. Haha, I just turned 40. Actually, when I turned 30, that was the big joke. Because, you know, the old saying was you couldn't trust anybody over 30. Then 40 came, and I said, well, okay, it's still funny. I'm 40, you know. So when 50 came, it was like, oh my God, what's going on here? There's a freight train running through my life. And, you know, so that's when you start to see things, you know, start to change on the way you think about things, the way you're starting to look, the way you perceive life and the world around you. At least that's been my experience. So, you know, so here, there's 15 years later, I'm now 65. And what's amazing is I think of my mom when she was 65, and I thought she was old, right? She was old. And that's not old. You know, they say 60 is the new 30 or 40. You know, we're the women and men of this world are older and more wise and hipper, all those things than our parents were just, you know, 30 or 40 years ago. So we've really evolved, and that's really an exciting thing as far as I'm concerned, because it helps me realize that, you know, I'm in the fast lane. It's good. It's all good. So what I wanted to talk to you today about was inventing oneself. And again, as I said, this is kind of from my perspective, and I'm looking at my notes here. One of the things that I have found that I've needed to do is, at 65, I said, you know, this is the time in my life. I talked about reinventing myself. I talked about reevaluating who I am and how I want to be and what I want to do. And so this has kind of been a few months of me really thinking about this and how I wanted to approach my life at this point. And, you know, as you know, a lot of you know, I have health issues, and that does color, you know, some of the things that I think about and how I think about what I want to do. But it's not like in my face. It's there, but it's kind of bubbling on the back burner. So I think some of the things that I found out I need to do is I need to begin journaling about how I feel on a day-to-day basis. Do I physically feel good? Do I emotionally feel good? What are the kinds of things that I'm percolating about, you know, as far as what I want to do, not just on the day-to-day basis, you know, all the stuff that you do, cleaning, kids, you know, shopping, interacting with your spouse or your most important person in your life. You know, so I kind of track that now to see how I'm doing. And it's been helpful because I can look back, you know, a couple of months and say, you know, this was kind of a period in my week that I didn't feel so hot, or I felt really high on something. And so that's been really helpful to me. And the other thing that I've been tracking in my brain and on paper is, what is it that I want to reinvent? And I'm thinking, well, you know, for me, is it my hair? Is it my makeup? Is it my clothing? Is it my weight? Is it the way that I act around people? Is it, things that I want to do? And so I've been kind of going over that, and I did make a list, and I'm going to refer to it here. Like I said, is it the physical part? Let me start again. I think the most important thing before you start all this other physical stuff is emotionally. How do you reinvent yourself so you're ready to take on challenges and new life experiences? And that's a hard one for me because my brain is really rigid. So that's hard for me to try and change. And that's a big struggle for me. All the other stuff's kind of easy after you look at what it is that I want to change. But that rigidity in the way I think and the way I approach life, that's the challenge for me. So it's like I said, is it the hair? Is it the new clothes? Is it new makeup? Is it your diet? Not that necessarily you need to lose weight or gain weight, but just that daily diet, that nutrition that goes into your body. Is it garbage or is it good? Do you want to change it, or do you like the, do I like where I'm at? I hate to use the word you because I'm not judging. It's just the word you comes out. But it helps, I think, all of us kind of think about, me. The other thing is, what makes you happy in life? What makes me happy in life? Now, we don't have children, so we don't have grandchildren. And I know a lot of you do. And that might be the greatest joy of your life, is loving and spoiling and nurturing your children and your grandchildren, which is fabulous, wonderful. And I envy you, believe it or not, I do. At this time in life, over the years, we talked about having kids. Did we have kids? Should we have kids? And the overall thought process, now that we look back, it was good. There were things in our life that it would have been difficult to have children. But on this side of it, you say, oh God, we see our friends with grandkids and grown-up adult children. And, that's a special thing. I know a lot of people have kids that say, oh my gosh, my child's making me insane. But, so I think that if you have grandchildren and that's your drive in life, I really envy you. Do you have hobbies? Do I have hobbies that maybe I've put off and now I want to, years ago I thought card making. I love to make cards. Then I went through hand weaving where I had a large loom, and that was the passion of my life. And I wove for probably 20, 25 years. And then I got bone spurs in my ankles and my back started to give me trouble, and I just physically couldn't weave anymore on a loom. So I went through basket weaving and the card making and the marbling, which I still love to do. And now I'm onto pottery. And that's where I was going to go with this. Do you have something in your life? You said, I've always wanted to skydive, or I've always wanted to cook gourmet food and go to cooking classes. And for me, it's the pottery, and so I'm taking classes, and it's something that I thought I would love, and guess what? I do, So if there's a passion in your life that not pursued for one reason or another, it's been time or financial or whatever it is, think if that is something you can possibly do. There are so many classes at community colleges that are really inexpensive, and I think that those are possibilities. If you want to skydive, go for it. I'm kind of more of a safe and sane kind of person, so I don't think I'd want to skydive. So I think that, parts of these things, the passions in your life, the hobbies that you want to do, things that you haven't pursued for, whatever reason, those things will help you reinvent yourself. For me, it's like, okay, I'm on this track of reinventing myself. So, I'm looking at all those things that, it's like the weight loss. I mean, up and down my entire life. And at one point I was, I had done very well with weight loss. And over the years, you creep it up and then you lose, a certain amount of weight and then it creeps back up. And it's like, this is my time. This is my time. This is what I want to do. It's no longer for somebody else or because I have a job or whatever it is. This is an inside job and I've got to do it for myself. So this is a big part of my reinvention is my weight loss, getting it under control, exercising more, having a healthy diet, which leads me to better clothes, clothes that I've always wanted to wear that I can't wear, and clothing's a whole nother video, and so is makeup. But those are things that after the mental stuff, I get into. It's vanity, but it's the reality of life for me. So the things that you haven't done that you want to do, as in hobbies. What about traveling? Do you want to travel? You don't have to take big long trips. Take short trips. You know, go to the museum or go to a garden nearby and enjoy the flowers, and you know, just breaking out of that mold, everyday mold. For me, I'm finding is helpful. You know, we took an overnighter here to the beach the other day because I was going cabin crazy. We hadn't been out away for months, and our moving situation had been so stressful. I had to get away, and just that change of scenery. Even had we just gone to the beach for the day, the change of scenery, it was like a shot in the arm. So for me, just those little outings, whether it's an out of town or a local event or venue, you know, like I said, a museum or local formal gardens, you know, something like that. Just, gosh, going into a downtown area that you don't visit very often, just getting out of the car and walking around, it's a boost, you know. So I'm looking here at my notes, and I'm thinking that I've pretty well talked all I want to talk about on this first vlog. And as I said, it's uncomfortable, and I'm hoping that I relay information that, you know, is pertinent to me, and it's not something that, you know, is asking you to do. I guess what I'm asking you to do is just say, hey, you know, let me hear what she has to say. Can I take any of those pieces and put them into my life? Are they not valuable to me? Maybe there's a snippet of it that might be. And as I said, you know, I'm not a shrink, you know, so I've got no judgment call on anybody. But I found a couple of interesting links that I'm gonna put down below here in the comments section. And what is so interesting is that as I was reading these articles, I said, this is really where I'm at as far as the priorities and the things that I want to do. So I will leave those links because they're interesting. And I will say that I've not gone through the entire website of these articles, but the articles themselves as a standalone I thought were very interesting. And one of the things that was said in one of those articles was Nora Ephron, the director. She said, we should reinvent ourselves every 10 years. Wow. I'm way behind. I am way behind. But I'm ready. This is my time. I don't know how well I'll do. I don't want to fall back on old habits. You know, I don't want to say, oh, I'm too lazy to do this, or I don't want to do this today. No, Jill, get up and do it, because at the end of the day, you're going to say, I'm happy I did it. It's like getting on that bike. We have a stationary bike, and every day I say, get on that bike for 30 minutes. You don't have to do a marathon. You don't have to be juggling out there like Lance Armstrong. Get on the bike and just pedal. And you know, that for me is a goal that I try to meet every single day, 30 minutes. And sometimes I fail. I do. Like sometimes I fail several days in a row, and then I kick myself, which is another source of problems that I need to change, is kicking myself. Anyway, enough said. I don't know how many minutes this was. Give me your feedback. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. If you want more topics that you want to talk about, I want to talk about things like makeup, hair, clothing, food, shopping, reading books, clubs that you can join. I have all these different ideas. So I'd like to hear what you all have to say about that. Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for putting up with me on this first time out. I appreciate it, and I hope to do better next time. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.